What is the first thing that comes to your mind when I say the word supplement? Be honest. You probably pictured a bodybuilder. You pictured a tub of white powder in a gym locker, big biceps, maybe some water weight. You might see it as a tool for vanity, strictly for building muscle. Welcome to Levitas. But what if I told you that we have been looking at one molecule completely wrong for the last 30 years? What if I told you that one powder is actually one of the most potent, safest, and most underutilized nootropics, brain boosters, on the planet? New research is painting a very different picture of creatine monohydrate. It turns out the organ that needs creatine the most isn't your biceps. It's your brain. We are seeing data suggesting it can increase IQ in certain populations, protect against concussions, and even act as a rescue energy source when you are sleep deprived. Today, we are rebranding creatine. We're going to talk about why vegetarians might be missing a massive cognitive edge. We're going to debunk the hair loss myth once and for all with 2024 science. And I'm going to tell you exactly how to dose it for your mind, not just your muscles. Let's upgrade your brain. And while we are at it, please hit the like button and leave a comment. It helps the channel a ton. To understand why creatine boosts your brain power, we have to go back to Biology 101. We need to talk about energy. Your brain is an energy hog. It creates thoughts, memories, and focus using a currency called ATP, or adenosine triphosphate. Every time a neuron fires, it burns ATP. It snaps off a phosphate molecule to release energy, turning ATP into ADP. That's a spent battery. Now, usually, your body recycles this slowly using sugar and oxygen. But what happens when you are in a high-stress situation? Maybe you're taking a final exam, you're in a heated argument, or you're solving a complex problem at work. Your neurons are firing faster than the glucose can keep up. This is where creatine steps in. Creatine is stored in your brain as phosphocreatine. It is literally a backup battery. It donates a phosphate group to that spent ADP, recycling it back into energy in a fraction of a second. So when we say creatine improves cognition, we don't mean it makes you smarter by magic. We mean it keeps your brain's energy grid stable when you are pushing the pedal to the floor. It prevents mental fatigue. Now, this leads us to one of the most fascinating findings in nutritional science. And if you are a vegetarian or vegan, you need to listen closely to this part. Creatine is naturally found in red meat and fish. If you eat a standard omnivorous diet, your creatine stores are probably about 60 to 80% full. But if you are a vegetarian, you are getting essentially zero dietary creatine. Your baseline levels are significantly lower, at 30% or even less. This isn't a criticism of the diet, it's just biochemistry. And this is why, when researchers give creatine supplements to vegetarians, the results are shocking. A landmark study from the University of Sydney showed that when vegetarians supplemented with creatine, they saw significant improvements in working memory and intelligence scores compared to those taking a placebo. Why is this? Because they were running on a deficit. By filling up the tank, they unlocked cognitive potential that was previously bottlenecked by a lack of fuel. If you eat meat, you will still see a benefit, but it might be more subtle, like upgrading from a fast computer to a slightly faster one. But for vegetarians, it's like upgrading from dial-up to fiber optic. But creatine isn't just about performance, it's about protection. This is where the science gets incredibly important for parents and athletes. We are now looking at creatine as a potential shield against traumatic brain injury, or TBI. When you get a concussion, your brain goes into a metabolic crisis. The cells dump all their energy trying to repair the damage, leading to a massive energy deficit. This energy crash is what causes the lingering symptoms, the fog, the sensitivity to light, the headaches. There is compelling evidence suggesting that if your brain is saturated with creatine before the injury occurs, you have a deeper reservoir of energy to handle that crisis. Some researchers are even suggesting that creatine should be a mandatory staple for kids playing contact sports. Think of it like putting a metabolic helmet on your neurons. It doesn't stop the hit, but it helps the brain survive the aftermath. And it's not just sports. It's sleep. We know that sleep deprivation reduces brain energy levels. A 2024 study suggests that a single high dose of creatine can partially reverse the cognitive decline caused by lack of sleep. It helps your tired brain keep the lights on, even when you haven't rested. Does it cause hair loss? Okay, we have to stop here. I know what you're thinking. I can hear someone saying it already. Doctor, doesn't creatine make you go bald? Let's kill this zombie myth right now. This entire fear stems from one single study. A single study on rugby players in 2009. In that study, researchers saw a slight increase in a hormone called DHT, or dihydrotestosterone, in the players taking creatine. DHT is linked to male pattern baldness. Here is the truth. That study did not measure hair loss. It only measured hormone levels. And the increase they saw? It was still within the normal clinical range. Since 2009, there have been dozens of studies. Dozens. None of them, I repeat, none of them have replicated those findings or found a direct link between creatine and hair loss. If you are genetically predisposed to lose your hair, it's going to happen regardless of the white powder in your smoothie. Creatine is not the villain here. Don't let a 20-year-old rumor stop you from protecting your brain. So how do we use it? This is where the brain differs from the biceps. Your muscles take up creatine very easily. Your brain is more stubborn. It is protected by the blood-brain barrier, a filter that keeps foreign substances out. Because of this barrier, the brain takes longer to saturate than your muscles. If you are taking the standard gym dose of 5 grams a day, it might take several weeks, even up to a month, to fully maximize your brain's creatine stores. You don't need to load it. You don't need to take 20 grams a day and upset your stomach. Just consistency is key. Here is the Dr. Levitas protocol for creatine and cognitive health. The type: use creatine monohydrate. Don't buy the fancy liquid forms or the buffered versions. They are more expensive and often less effective. Plain, boring monohydrate is the gold standard. The dose, 5 grams per day, every day. Even on days you don't exercise. The timing, it doesn't matter. Morning, night, pre-workout, post-workout. Just get it in your system. And patience. Give it 30 days before you judge the results. Here's the doctor's verdict. Creatine is the most well-researched supplement in history. For decades, the bodybuilders had a secret that the rest of the world and even they ignored. But now we know better. This isn't just about bench pressing. It's about brain processing. It is about providing your neurons with the energy they need to fight clinical sadness, to solve problems, to withstand trauma, and to function when you are exhausted or sleep deprived. In a world where we are constantly mentally drained, where brain fog is a common complaint, this is a low-risk, high-reward tool that is sitting right there on the shelf. My challenge to you is this. If you aren't taking it, try the 5-gram protocol for 1 month. Pay attention to your word recall. Pay attention to your mental endurance in the afternoon. See if the fog lifts. Stop treating your brain like a fixed asset and start treating it like a high-performance machine. Watch this video suggestion. It was especially picked for you. Also share, comment, give it a thumbs up, subscribe, and hit the bell icon. It helps a ton with the algorithm. Remain tuned for future videos to empower your health and fitness journey. So, stay healthy, stay happy, and keep going.